Oh, the chase is on.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. He's so dangerous. Please don't do it. Oh, my God. Everybody said it's not true, but it has to be. Oh, Lord, no. No, not over my foot. God, no, please.
Alright guys, so it's currently almost the middle of October. I wasn't even herping today. I'm in the Poconos just hiking around, trying to find some cool waterfalls and stuff. And I was just walking this trail and found this little juvenile smooth green snake crossing. He slithered right under my feet. I think the craziest thing about this is that this is actually the second time this has happened on this trail, that I found a smooth green snake just crossing, which is pretty crazy because they're a primarily fossorial species, so you don't normally see these guys out and about. You almost like always flip them under rocks. So it's pretty insane that 2 out of the 3 smooth green snakes I've seen in my whole life were slithering across this trail. I cannot believe that. He was actually opening his mouth a little bit earlier. I don't know if I got it on camera though, if I got any photos. I'll have to look back later. Guys, I just found a freaking rattlesnake. A nice looking black phase on the trail. Let's go. Hey there, buddy. Oh my God, that's nuts. Alright, so he just slithered under this little shrubbery right here. This is actually amazing. I can't believe I just found a rattlesnake. Again, he's just alongside the trail. Like, I wasn't even trying to find snakes today. I thought that this smooth green snake was like some super lucky encounter that I wouldn't see anything else. But here's the rattlesnake. So I guess I might have to actually start looking for snakes today because they're obviously out. Alright, so I just found another snake. This time it's a garter snake. Hey there, buddy. Another one just out on the crawl today. Wow, he's super chill. Oh my God. Yeah, I actually almost walked right past him. I had to do a double take at that pile of shit right there, whatever that is. And then I realized there's a snake, like super close to it, or else I would have missed it. That's kind of crazy. Alright guys, so that wraps up my 2022 portion of the video. Now I'm going to go over the absolutely insane year I had in 2023, even though I didn't get a ton of footage sadly. The videos I did get were vertically shot for the most part, because I thought I'd only be making shorts from here on out, but that's obviously not the case now. But yeah, sorry if it's not like the ideal format, but I'll try to make this as enjoyable as I can, and I got a lot of cool photos to throw in as well. So the first excursion of the year was a quick day trip to Maryland with my friend Adrian. We kicked off the season with quite a few fossorial snakes, spotted salamanders, skinks, and my life for marbled salamander as well. It wasn't anything too crazy, but a great way to start the year nonetheless. About a week later, I went on a solo trip down to Virginia and North Carolina. I had no clue if I'd have any luck or not since it was still mid-February, and it was kind of a last-minute rocket run trip to begin with that lasted only a day and a half of actual herping, but I did far better than I thought I would, finding at least 100 turtles, tons of cottonmouths, a neonate rat snake, some Nerodia, including my life for brown water snake, and my life for banded water snake, and even my life for alligator, which I was not expecting to get until my trip down south. Sadly, I didn't find any rainbow snakes, which were the main target, but I left beyond satisfied with how the trip went, especially since it was still winter. On a rainy night in late February, I met up with a few herpers in Maryland to see what amphibians would be moving on the roads then. We saw quite a few spotted salamanders and marbled salamanders, as well as some cool frog species, the highlight of which was my life for New Jersey chorus frog. Next up, I'm going to talk about my trip down south in early March with Greg, which was easily the most productive and intense adventure of the whole year, with a total of 61 reptile and amphibian species found, and a whopping 52 of those being lifers. Alright, so the first part of our journey took place in Florida, primarily the Everglades, even though we hit spots throughout the whole entire state. After arriving at our first location at 3:30 in the morning, we were too hyped to not immediately start herping and found an invasive Cuban tree frog, as well as a bunch of anoles on a gas station wall where we decided to get a couple hours of sleep that night. The next day was full of excitement. Despite us nearly dying of a heat stroke at our first spot, we were able to find a rough green snake which was the first snake of the trip. The most significant find at that location would have to be the dusky pygmy rattlesnake, which was a big target of mine. The two main targets me and Greg both really wanted to see throughout the trip were eastern diamondback rattlesnakes and scarlet king snakes. Although I didn't get a picture, we saw a scarlet king shed at the first spot of the day, but unfortunately no live snake was with it. That night we made it down to the Everglades, where we found loads of cool lizards. Even though the majority of them were invasive, it was still a real treat getting to see them in person. We got a really late start cruising and only found one snake that night, but it was a mangrove saltmarsh snake, which was definitely a pleasant surprise. I quite honestly forgot that species even existed and had to whip out a field guide to get a proper ID. After yet another night with not much sleep, we picked up George, who was living in the Everglades at the time, and immediately found my life for yellow rat snake and corn snake crossing the road right by his house, which made it clear that George was the bringer of good luck and would be a great friend to help us navigate the area. We then drove down to the Keys to find some lizards and enjoy some key lime pie on the beach while we took in the beautiful tropical landscape around us. The third day was pretty slow overall, but there were definitely still some cool encounters during the day, such as my lifer Florida softshell turtle, night anole, and vultures eating the corpse of an alligator, which is probably one of the worst things I've ever smelled, but cool to see nonetheless. My personal favorite encounter that day was getting to see some massive American crocodiles deep in the Everglades. The prehistoric look of crocodilians make you feel more like you're walking through Jurassic Park than a national park found in North America. After a much-needed afternoon of relaxing and looking for lizards in Miami the next day, we herped hard in the evening finding loads of snakes in the Everglades. Although most of the snakes were the usual cottonmouths crossing in full force, we were still able to find a few other species like a gorgeous yellow rat, a green water snake that delivered easily the most painful reptile bite of my life, and there was even a Florida brown snake on the crawl, which is kind of unexpected. The most heartbreaking of the many DORs we found that night was without a doubt this pulverized eastern diamondback rattlesnake we found on the road. But the next day our luck turned around, however. After relocating some yellow rat snakes from a polluted area in the morning, we drove for hours to a spot we knew would have a decent shot of producing an EDB. Upon arriving, we were immediately greeted by my lifer gopher tortoise. We would see many more of these dudes strolling around throughout the day, but after a good while of exploring and not finding any snakes at all, me and Greg split up to cover more ground. Soon after making that decision, I looked down to see a diamondback slithering through some high vegetation right by my feet. Me and Greg were beyond stoked about this encounter, and this marked one of our two huge targets found. Even if we found nothing the rest of the trip, we could leave extremely happy with how we did. But we were only halfway done our trip at this point and still had plenty of cool places to hit. To be honest, the second stretch of the trip was a lot tougher than the first as we worked our way through Alabama and Georgia. I'm not going to talk about each day individually anymore, as there were quite a few days that were real struggles. I could be wrong, but I think the only snake we even found in Alabama was this copperhead, but Georgia fortunately gave us some really cool finds, like both species of glass lizard, a gigantic corn snake, and a very feisty coach whip. What started off as one of our best days in Georgia with a handful of king snakes and a gorgeous gray rat snake ended up being one of the crappiest days of the trip overall. We got Greg's car stuck in a ditch in the middle of nowhere after losing control of the vehicle on the super slick dirt roads around the area we were herping. We spent hours trying to get the car out and walked for like actual miles knocking on strangers' doors asking if they could help us. Thank God the last hope we had worked out. We came across a small warehouse, and a dude my age with a big-ass John Deere was able to save us from what would have otherwise been a massive bill from a towing company. On our way home from our eventful trip down south, we hit one more flip site in Georgia and found 3 different pit viper species to end the trip, including a huge canebrake, a stunning copperhead, and some cottonmouths for good measure. I went on quite a few day trips in PA after that, and we'll show a few of the pictures I got throughout the next couple months. My last big trip of the year was to Virginia with Anthony, Tony, Adrian, Laz, Roy, and Rusty in May. Although I was sick for like the whole duration of the few days we were out there, it was still a blast. We found quite a few cool amphibians, a couple rough greens, and a bunch of cottonmouths and Nerodia. There were a few other cool reptiles we found, but I'm not going to list all of them individually. I'll throw some pictures of them into the video though. But the highlight of the trip was without a doubt my lifer mud snake that I nearly stepped on while me and Roy were walking back to the cars to grab snacks. Thankfully, I saw this incredible baby snake in time and avoided accidentally smushing our main target of the trip. I might have actually had to give up herping if that happened. I would have been so upset. But we all got to enjoy a moment with this amazing creature before going our separate ways back home. I had yet another devastating dead snake sighting during the trip as well. Me and Adrian found a dead rainbow snake next to someone's yard. It looked like it died from a disease earlier that day. Although very upsetting, we at least got one of our Francia targets checked off this year. The last big find I want to cover is the only hognose snake I found all year while I was herping the Poconos. I was so hyped to finally see an adult since I never have before this. I got to see her do the classic hognose zombie defense tactic. I'd say hogs might be one of my favorite snake species in the whole world, quite honestly, so I'm really hoping to see a lot more this upcoming year. And speaking of this upcoming year, I want to talk briefly about what's in store. I'll show photos from some of my other small trips throughout the year as I talk. So my plan going forward is to release at least a few videos throughout the season, but there probably won't be as many as previous years. But it's going to be more of a quality over quantity situation. I'm going to really take my time on the videos I do make, and I'm hoping they'll be of a more professional quality than previous years. I'll probably post shorts in between videos here and there as well, and I might have one more video releasing before the season kicks off. I just got a really funny idea for something, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss what I'm gonna make, because it's gonna be awesome. Alright, so I guess that wraps up the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to making more videos this upcoming season. Peace.